What's up, everybody? Caldy O'Mara here from Mississauga.com. I have the mayor, as I do almost every week since the pandemic, Mayor Bonnie Crombie of Mississauga. Should turn off my phone. I apologize. Yeah, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, it's
Good.
been an exciting week and weekend. Lots of activity happening in Mississauga, some really great news, lots of big announcements.
Awesome. We will get at that, but I'm going to start with the investigation. What's the latest in regards to the Karen Rouse situation with Ron Starr allegedly keying her car?
Right. So I think we're on the right track to get justice for Karen. You know, it was a tough situation because I look back and wonder, I wish I could have done more, and I reflect on it. And at the same time, Karen did ask for confidentiality, so it put me and someone else in a difficult position, but council wasn't aware of the allegations. So that said, we passed a motion at council that asked the integrity commissioner to explain to us why he didn't investigate when Karen Rouse initially asked him. And he told us that he used the exemption for criminal matters. And we received an opinion that he could have still investigated, and others have. And so we strengthened the wording in our code of conduct so it wasn't subject to misinterpretation again. So we strengthened the wording that it was fine for him to proceed, suspend the investigation in the future until the criminal investigation or the police investigation had been concluded or resolved, and then pick it up once again. So he's on board now and already acting on it and investigating. And he tells me we should have his report within a matter of weeks, not a matter of months. So that's very good news. And I really hope this brings the justice for Karen and that we all get a resolution for this matter. It's been a very difficult time for our council, and particularly difficult for me, especially, Karen is my colleague and my friend. I have so much respect and admiration for her, and this was a very difficult time. And notwithstanding that she asked me to keep this information in confidence, I could have and probably should have done more. We learned from the integrity commissioner, I could have filed a complaint, and then he would have had to approach her for the evidence. So this was a new development for me, and I regret that. And I regret that, and Karen knows I regret that, and I publicly apologize to her. But I think
you talked to Karen?
I have reached out to her a couple times. I've been busy and she's got a new job, so we haven't connected, but we're texting. I will try to connect with her very soon. But I think we're on the right track, and I feel very confident that the integrity commissioner will come back to us with the facts and resolve this matter one way or another in the next few weeks.
Awesome. Have you talked to Ron Starr?
Yes, I have had conversations with Councillor Starr because, as you know, council moved a motion that he take a leave of absence. And you have to understand that we can't compel him to take a leave of absence in the same way we can't compel him to resign. Right? We don't have the power to do that. So this has to be a voluntary leave of absence. So I wrote him a letter to explain that the council had moved the motion because, of course, he wasn't present for those proceedings. And then the city manager and I have had a discussion with him on, what that might look like and what period of time that would mean and what specifically we felt he was able to do and not do.
Okay. Let's move on to something more positive. Should we call her the machine, the hurricane? Well, she turned 101 on Valentine's Day yesterday.
Such an incredible, I have had, let me share with you, 6 events with Hazel in the past 5 days. I've seen her more in the past 5 days than I have in a very long time. But it was such an inspiring weekend. I mean, how often does your good friend, mentor turn 101 and is still full of life and is vibrant? So she was really in her element. We had so many wonderful events for her all weekend long. We had Mohammed Feki and I joined police and fire services to do a drive-by tribute to her on Saturday. On Sunday was her party for close family and friends, and we would come in staggered, every hour a different group would come in at the Legion Hall in Streetsville. Then on Monday, yesterday, she and I participated in the announcement with the Premier, where he announced the name of our new LRT line would be the Hazel McAllen line. I mean, how fitting and how appropriate is that? So we were just overjoyed. And then, of course, he also mentioned he was going to try and re-add in the loop for us. So that's another conversation. And, certainly have to learn more about the details and how that could be done and when it could be done and whether we could add it back in before it's completed. Lots of information. And then as well, last night we had another event for Hazel at the Hazel exhibit.
Okay.
At the mall, Erin Mills Town Center, with the Premier and the Lieutenant Governor. So it was a beautiful event, lots of picture taking. And then today we had a big announcement at the hospital, and she is, of course, the honorary patron and guardian of Trillium Health Partners. So it was a huge announcement from somebody she's worked closely with over many years, building and developing our city. And so many positive announcements this week. I feel restored. I have so much confidence.
I'm assuming that you didn't do your F45 in between all the
I did it this morning. I did it Sunday morning. And I did it Friday morning. I've done it every second day.
That's hardcore. Okay, cool. Let me ask about the LRT loop, because that was kind of a big thing that he said he's looking into it. Now, are you more confident that this will happen?
Well, I was just as surprised as everyone when he returned to me, and Hazel was standing next to me and said, I know now that we got this line being built, the first thing you're going to do is say, when can I have my loop? So let me tell you, Mayor Crombie, I'm going to fight to get you that loop. So, I mean, that was an even bigger surprise, and I was overjoyed. But of course, the devil's in the details. How will it be funded? Will it be scoped back in the original project so that it can be completed at the same time? Will it take longer now that it's not in the original, mechanical designs and drawings? So lots of questions. He almost seemed to have done it on a whim himself, because he said, boy, oh boy, am I going to get in trouble with Treasury now and the finance minister now that I promised you this.
I'm sure all the developers are watching right now going, what? So,
well, and it does make sense, that we have about 50,000 units being built in the downtown. So of course it's the LRT is a game changer, but that last mile around the downtown where we'll be adding, 50 to 60,000 more people over the next 30 years. That we have about 25 towers being built in the next 5 years. And then when the OMERS and owners of the mall.
Oxford.
Thank you. The Oxford redevelopment occurs on the tip of my tongue. Oxford OMERS redevelopment occurs. That's another 30 towers. So over 50 towers coming into the downtown. So of course, it makes absolute financial, economic, and all kinds of sense that this happened. It ticks every box: climate change, public transit. It just makes us a modern, progressive city that is building public transit when we're building housing, which is the right planning. And so I'm very pleased. I've got to really ensure that this happens.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about the 13 automated speed traps in Mississauga. Do you know when all 22 will be active?
So, you and I have discussed this previously, and they were all to have been active by the end of December. And I think there are only a few that aren't. Let me just check.
I think there's 13 active right now.
Okay.
So that's the latest number.
You know what, they're bringing them, Colin, all I can tell you is they're bringing them online as soon as possible. And weather's obviously been an issue with storms, but they will be here by the springtime. Absolutely. If they're delayed a few weeks, they've just been delayed a few weeks, but we're on board to have all 22 in place very soon.
Okay. Awesome. New vaccination centers, are there any new ones coming up anytime soon? I know that you had doses after dark over the weekend.
Yeah, we did it at Rockwood Mall.
Yeah.
And I did go about 4:30 on Saturday afternoon, met Dr. Lowe there. We did a tour. They're doing great numbers there. Very pleased to see that. They have a children's area. Wonderful to see that. And I also attended on Sunday. We had a pop-up clinic at the Small Arms building. And so Councillor Dasco was in attendance as well. And it was the staff at Trillium Health Partners that put on that pop-up clinic. So, you know, from time to time, it's just best to check the Peel Region's website with COVID-19 updates, and they'll have all the information, because these change week to week depending on how quickly we can activate the site. So the goal now is to get everyone boosted. You and I both know that that's so important, because we're well over 90% vaccinated 12 plus, and we're working on the 5 to 11-year-olds. We're about 85% if you look at 5 plus.
Yeah.
So we're working on the 5 to 11-year-olds, but there are a lot of them, and then so that's and then the boosters. So we really need to get our boosters number up, and that's why we're doing more and more of the pop-ups so that they're more convenient for people, and extending the hours as we did with doses after dark. So people doing a working shift work can come in on a Saturday or late into the evening. I mean, it was pretty convenient to come in on a Saturday night up until midnight to get your vaccine. So get your booster.
Yep, Utah's already asking me when can I get mine, and I'm like, you can get it now, but this Friday.
Oh, of course, yeah, because I think the premier announced that, right?
Yeah, you can start getting
That they're eligible. They're all eligible. Yeah, we're 90% Peel residents 5 plus 1 dose, 85% second dose, 50% 5 to 11 have received 1 dose, 18% 2 doses. So our numbers are really good.
Good. So let me ask you 2 more questions here. They just announced today, the feds announced that the mandatory PCR tests for international fully vaccinated travelers, they're scrapping it in 2 weeks. It's going to be more
February 28th, I think. So if you're returning from travel, you only need to, if you're fully vaccinated, you only need to have a rapid antigen test. And that's very great news. I hope we hear some good news about travel restrictions being lifted too. Not that there are many in place, but you know.
Yeah. Are you happy about that? I mean, I think the city makes more money if more people travel, right? So
that's absolutely the case in Mississauga. When those passenger counts go up, it does add to our revenue. You make a very valid point.
And let's talk about this massive hospital donation.
Oh, such great news. Such great news. And I really want to profoundly thank Peter Gilgan of Mattamy Homes and the Peter Gilgan Foundation. And I had the opportunity to meet 2 of his children, Stephanie and Luke, today, that were present. He announced the largest donation in Canadian history today. Wow. That he is making to redevelop our Mississauga Trillium Hospital at the Queensway here, Ontario site, and donated $105 million. Wow. Just incredible. So the Mississauga Hospital will be called the Peter Gilgan Hospital, Mississauga Hospital, actually, the Peter Gilgan Mississauga Hospital, and the Queensway Rehab Center will be called the Gilgan Family Rehab Center. So he's named now both buildings, both sites, with his donation. And let me mention once again, that is the largest single donation in Canadian history.
Wow, that is
very transformative.
So, and sorry, did you say that the hospital name is going to change?
Well, yes, it will be the Peter Gilgan Mississauga Hospital.
Okay, interesting.
He's naming the hospital site.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay.
And over at the rehab center on Queensway will be the Gilgan Family Rehab Center. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yes, and I anticipate there will be other namings as well for some of the different units or different buildings on site. But he has now named the overall, it will not be the Trillium Hospital, it will be the Peter Gilgan Mississauga Hospital.
Awesome.
Yeah,
let's end on that note, Mayor. Thank you so much for the chat this week.
Yep, thank you very much for having me. Perfect. Take care.